Hi, today I want to share with you how to make succulent plants with clay like these ones. I made a whole bunch of succulents about a year ago. Each of them I referenced real plants. I either went to the flower markets to buy real ones for reference, or for rare strands, I referenced photos on internet. I made this bowl first, and then this one, and I also made another one which was given to my brother-in-law. Then I reduced the sizes and made some trinkets, pendants, all of them pendants. And this was a set of necklaces and earrings. There are hundreds or maybe even thousands types of succulent plants, but the most common ones are like flowers, like this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So today I'm gonna share with you how to make succulents with the shapes like flowers. But as you can see here, they still come with many different colors, like the green ones, the pink ones, the purple ones. So today I'm gonna share with you how to make the green ones. As you can see here, although it is green, but it has other color accents, and they have different variations of green, like this one. My sharing will have three parts. In part one, I'll tell you how to make the basic shapes and basic base color. And in part two, how to set the whole plant, put the individual leaves together. And in part three, I'll tell you how to add accent colors. When you get the idea of each step, you can make your own succulent plant modeling on a plant that you like, and I'm sure you will be able to adopt it to your own method and make your own plant. In fact, a friend of mine asked me to teach her how to make succulent plants after seeing my products, but since we are both very busy, so we haven't been able to get together and squeeze some time out for me to teach her. So I hope she'll be able to watch the videos and make her own plants. Without much ado, let's get started. As I said just now, I'll be sharing to make a succulent plant similar to this one. But you can see that there are different kinds of green, and they have different look, partly because of the base color, but also partly because of the material I used. Today I will be using cold porcelain, and most of the plants here I used cold porcelain, but for some of them you can see that they have more translucent look, like this one, and this one. I used a Japanese brand of translucent clay. I'll be using oil paint to make the base color. This is also a Japanese brand, especially for making clay projects, not for painting. Because there's a certain degree of translucency in each leaf of the succulent plants, so I can't use acrylic paint. Bear in mind that when cold porcelain dries, the color will darken by one value on the value scale of 1 to 10. But for translucent clay, it will darken by at least 2 values. Just to give you an example, when I made the raspberries here, I used translucent clay because raspberry is quite translucent. And I made clay with about this color of pink, this value of pink, but when it dries, it darkens to this value. So you can see the contrast from this value to this value. Take a piece of clay the size that you think you need. I'm going to use sap green. Many of my students just put the oil paint directly on the clay. Mind you, don't do that because you may have to use a couple of times of the volume of this clay to dilute it. So you take a small piece and dip it into the clay, into the oil paint, and then looks like I really need some green gray. You have to make the exact color that you want for the time being because we are going to add some more color on the surface in step 3. I don't really try to remember what color I mixed each time because with experience you can tell from the product or from the work that what color that you need. For example, in here you can see it has some blue color here and also here. And for this one, it's very light green, right? So actually, I mainly used this one, lunar green. It's somewhat has a neon color. So for this piece of clay that we are going to use, I added green gray and sap green in the ratio of about 2 to 3. And for this piece, because I want to demonstrate how to mix this color, I used wholly green gray. Sap green and green gray, only green gray. You can see that green gray has some gray color and also some blue color. The color of green gray is more vibrant. So as I want to make this kind of color, it's not vibrant at all. So I used sap green and I have to add some brown color as well. Okay, I've added some yellow ochre and rose gray. Okay, I've added some more of the 3 colors in the same ratio as I showed you just now. This is sap green and green gray, and this is green gray, rose gray, and yellow ochre. In the photo of the whole product that I gave to my brother-in-law, you can see that the blue-green one, I added some turquoise color. It is food coloring because I can't find the right color of oil paint that I want, so I used food coloring instead. And as I remember, I added the food coloring into the clay when I make it the base color, and I also painted some on top after it dries. You can see from here that the sizes of the leaves vary a lot within a plant. These ones are very small and these ones are large, and they are different in shapes as well. And for the very center piece is almost triangular shape when you look down from the top. Let's make this the centerpiece, and I'll make a few more, a little bit larger, but also of similar shapes. Don't put them together yet, let them dry. Make a teardrop shape And then use your fingers to squeeze the top like this and compare the sizes. I think I have to make some larger ones. Just don't discard them because you may need them later when you set the whole plant. Like this. And you may want, this one will be putting beside the centerpiece, so this side may need to dent a bit like this. Have at least 3 pieces of the same size. For real succulent leaves, the bottom is flat, right? But this one is tapered because when you do set or arrange the leaves, you don't want them to take up too much space, so they have to be tapered like this. For the pendant and the earrings, because they have to be small in size, so I can't make too many layers, so I didn't really do so many layers and so many small pieces. Then I made this one. Now the larger pieces. There are cracks. Make a teardrop shape and then make this end taper as well. It's too tapered. It should be like this. Flatten it. Use a stylus to make it like this, but don't press too hard. Or alternatively, you can use your knuckle or your thumb like this. I think I've made these pieces too small because I kept thinking about the miniature ones in mind, so I would make larger ones and put them aside because they may come in handy later on. You never know. So basically, I make it longer instead of larger in size, like this. I've made a few more off camera because my battery is running low. Now I have to make more of this size. If you find that you're making the leaves larger and larger like I did, don't worry, just put them aside, I mean for the next layer, and don't make them identical in shape. Otherwise they look stiff and mechanical, they don't look organic. the bottom part should be longer. So actually it's very easy to make, just like this. You don't necessarily need to separate the sizes in layers. Just make them in gradually larger. That's okay. Compare the sizes, and if you think it should be larger here, then put them here. Put it here, and if you make it a smaller piece, just put them in between the sizes that you think fit. That's because actually the leaves or even the petals of flowers are not arranged in layers. Don't worry too much about the shape at the bottom because you won't see it. Okay, I forgot to leave a piece for the arrangement of the whole plant, so I made another piece, and you can see that they are of the same, almost the same color. So actually you can do it with experience. I'll leave this piece for the arrangement. Now I will let them dry before going on to the next step. Now I remember that this piece was a leftover piece of this one, and I added some brown color. And I'll finish off with this piece as well. The difference between this kind of leaves and this is that this one is flatter and wider, and for this one it has a ridge at the back and the tip is more flipping outward. So actually you can just shape it with your finger. You don't have to use the stylus. Like this. You still have to use the stylus. And then like this.